pull up a chair, get your coffee or your tea, I don't judge, because we are going deep into one of the most talked about events in Christian media this week. Joanie Lamb has gone home to be with the Lord. And I want to start right there, because before we get into anything else, I just want to say, this woman built something. Decades behind that Daystar microphone. Decades of broadcasting the gospel into homes across the world. Whatever you think about the drama surrounding the network right now, Joanie Lamb's contribution to Christian television is real, and it deserves to be honored. The funeral program even carried the title A Life Surrendered. And I thought, what a legacy to leave. But y'all, the story around this funeral, it is layered. It is complicated. And the body of Christ is watching and talking. So let's get into it. The memorial was held at Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas. Big venue, fitting for a woman of Joanie's stature in evangelical media. Ministry leaders, family members, longtime supporters, all gathered together. The eulogy was delivered by Gentes and Franklin. Jonathan Kahn offered a special prayer and blessing over the Lamb family. The Daystar singers led worship, and they closed with a recessional performance of Agnus Dei. Beautiful, right? On paper, it sounds like a dignified, reverent farewell. But here's where it gets interesting. The service was not live streamed. Now look, that's not inherently scandalous. Families make those calls all the time. But the timing and the reason, that's what people are talking about. Reports are circulating that the service was professionally recorded for delayed airing on Daystar TV, and social media, you know how social media is, immediately started speculating that the delay was intentional, that producers would have time to edit things, smooth things out, control the narrative before it hits the public. Now, Daystar hasn't officially confirmed any of that, but the speculation is out there. And honestly, given the climate surrounding this ministry right now, can you blame people for raising an eyebrow? So there's this guy, James, a YouTuber, a commentator, someone who has been covering the Daystar story closely. He drove out to Southlake. He was there. He even, for fun, rented a Cybertruck.
We're here in beautiful Southlake, and unfortunately what we found was that I was placed on a banned list. As soon as I got into the sanctuary, security asked me to step out. And I will tell you this, the Gateway security people were very, very nice. They were very cordial. Unfortunately, Daystar does not want me in there at all. And it is what it is. My understanding is that the actual recording of the memorial service will be played on Daystar tomorrow, so it will be available to the public. I explained to security that my ultimate hope is that the Lamb family reconciles. I want to see Rachel and Rebecca and Jonathan reunited. And I also had positive things to say about Daniel Floyd, because I think he's the right fit for Gateway. By the way, my beautiful bride is holding the camera. Let's show off a little bit. We, just for the fun of it, rented a Cybertruck.
Oh, that's nice.
At least we got something out of this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to show some of it. Here. So, if I could, I don't know if I can back this up or not, but that's this weird steering wheel. I will tell you that it felt very comfortable to put my hands here and here. That's for the cruise. And most everything is in the center screen. You should have seen us. Should have seen us when we were trying to pick this up. We rented it through Turo, and we couldn't figure out how to get the glove compartment open, and the alarm kept going off, and I was just freaked out. And yes, full disclosure, I have PTSD, so I was a little triggered, a little bit. But that's okay. You can't control what other people do.
Right.
And I hope and pray one day that the folks at Daystar wake up, because we need to lead by example.
Hey guys, Ron and Deb here, and we just had church.
I'm telling you, we have been to church. We were at Joanie Lamb's homegoing celebration. There wasn't no sad funeral here.
It was amazing.
I'm telling you, it was just, not only was it a worshipful place, but I'm telling you, some of the most anointed men and women of God spoke there. I mean,
the room was full of generals.
Oh, I'm telling you, when Nicole C. sang, "I Know My Redeemer Lives," woo, everybody knew he lived there.
Yes.
And
she was amazing and so sweet to talk to, such a lovely friend that Ron knows from Caleb days, and she was so sweet.
We only meet in funerals anymore, but I told her we got to stop meeting this way at funerals only. But who else was here?
Well, we were able to enjoy an incredible worship song and beautiful trumpet playing by Phil Driscoll.
Phil Driscoll, my old buddy. I had my first national television appearance with Phil Driscoll back years ago on the Richard Hogue Show.
He was so great, and he was so lovely to meet, and so humble, and gave all the glory to the Lord.
Yes, he did. Yeah, what a great guy that's still traveling, singing, blowing his trumpet. I'm telling you, what a thrill that was, get to see him again.
And it was so neat because yesterday was Rededicated 250, where the President Trump rededicated.
They can pretend like that Jonathan and Susie don't exist, but that's the truth. And as long as I know that Jonathan Lamb's one of the most godly men I've ever met, I'm going to continue to advocate for him. So I can tell you this: when I was told that I was on the banned list, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't offended. The security team there at Gateway did their job, and that's what they're paid. That's what they're paid to do. And I don't want them to get in trouble. So I just left. So it is what it is. I'll respond tomorrow when I watch. I'll have to watch it online and then give you my response. But I will tell you that I talked to a good friend of mine. I talked to Everett on the phone, and he brought up the point, the fact that if they're taping it and then broadcasting it tomorrow, it means
the United States is a Christian nation, and so many people were there that in Washington, Jensen Franklin was there and he was preaching, and Jensen was here today, and he was so encouraging, and he really took up for Joanie, and he really took up for everything she's had to go through recently, and said, you know, we should not criticize people of the Lord when they're out there trying to work, when they're out there trying to do ministry. You know, they're going to get enough criticism. They do not need our criticism. And I thought to myself, how encouraging for us to keep the ministry going. And they were telling the story of how they saw the gospel, they heard the gospel, they felt the gospel through their mom and dad. And they are carrying on, the whole family will carry on the ministry that they were doing. And it's just such a beautiful thing. I just give a lot of thanks and praise to God for the whole family.
Well, and this little video just got to be real quick here. I said we both just feel so full, we got to share it with you guys. But not only did President Trump have a video message, Benjamin Netanyahu had a video message,
and Rabbi Jason Sobel.
Yes, but also Jonathan Cahn.
Jonathan Cahn.
Yeah, Jonathan Cahn.
Yes.
But I tell you the thing, some people, you'll hear this. Oh yeah, Joel Osteen, yeah, he's just such a fake.
He's not a fake.
I'm telling you, he stood there. Is he perfect? No. Are you perfect?
He cried, John.
Are you perfect?
I am not.
I'm not either. He stood there.
He cried.
And he couldn't hardly give you, those were genuine tears. They weren't fake or try to put on.
He loved Joanie.
He loved her. Yes. And
so many people did. Andrew Womack was there.
You got to talk with him.
And his wife, and they were such a lovely couple, and they were
Yes.
so sweet to us. And I mean, honestly, Joanie, she just knew everybody, and she helped everybody. I met her several times, and I wanted to come today because there was a very difficult time in my life when I just watched Daystar 24 hours a day. I watched it all day. If I was home, I watched it all night. Even then, they had the Psalms and the music at night and the pictures. I even watched that and listened to that as I slept. And I really think that their network got me through a very difficult time. And I wanted to come here today to support her and to let her know that we loved her ministry so much, and we loved her. We love her family. We're praying for her family. We're praying for all of her. And knowing that Jensen Franklin is pulling for us, and he was pulling for Joanie. And, you know, we're still here. We still have the opportunity to share the gospel and to share about Jesus. And, you know, that's what she would have wanted. She would have wanted us to continue.
And hearing of their humble beginnings, and I'm just thinking, you know, Deb and I at home there talking about what Jensen was talking about. He was in their studio. They just threw him a little backdrop and they didn't hardly even have a camera. You know, well, that sounds pretty much like us, but we know God's called us.
And Joanie knew that God had called her, and she poured into her children. She poured into her children so much. Her daughters were speaking about.
I love that detail. I'm sorry, that's very on brand for a content creator in 2025. But here's what happened. He walked into the sanctuary, and security pulled him aside. He was on a banned list. Daystar did not want him inside that building. Now, here's what I appreciate about how James handled this. He wasn't dramatic about it. He said the Gateway security team was professional, cordial, and just doing their job. He didn't make a scene, he just left. And he went on camera outside and explained himself. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, "I just want the Lamb family to reconcile. I want to see Jonathan, Rachel, and Rebecca reunited." He also had positive things to say about Daniel Floyd leading Gateway going forward. That's the posture of someone who actually cares about the outcome, not just the content. And I respect that. But the fact that a journalist, even an independent one, gets banned from a funeral? That tells you how tightly controlled this whole situation is. Jonathan Lamb attended his mother's funeral. He was there with his wife Susie, and not only that, the pastor reportedly embraced Jonathan and Susie at the memorial service. That moment alone has people talking. Because let me remind you of the context here. There are reports that Doug Weiss, yes, that Doug Weiss, had previously used security to try to prevent Jonathan and his wife from attending. Think about that for a second. A son being blocked from his own mother's burial. The funeral brochure listed Jonathan's sons-in-law, Joshua Brown, known to many as Pete, and Jonathan Weiss among the pallbearers. So the family dynamics here are complicated, layered, and clearly still evolving. Because y'all, the comment sections on this story are something else. And I mean that in the best possible way. Because people are genuinely wrestling with this. Let me share a few that caught my attention. One commenter said, "Jonathan has a throne that God chooses, not a broken throne." 39 likes on that comment. And honestly, that hit me. Because that's the truth, isn't it? We spend so much time fighting over earthly platforms and networks and positions. But if God has called you, no board meeting and no band list can take that away from you. Another person said, "When praying for Jonathan, cover him in the precious blood of Jesus." Yes, that's the posture we should have. Whatever side of this you're on, pray for this man. He lost both his parents. He lost his job. His wife lost her job. In the span of 5 years, that family has been through something most of us cannot imagine. One commenter put it perfectly. Jonathan lost all his family. This isn't just a ministry drama. This is a grieving son. Now, there was one comment that was harder to read. Someone wrote, and I'll be honest, it was bold. They said that if Joanie did not reconcile with Jonathan before she died, then they weren't sure about her eternal destination. I want to be pastoral here. I understand the sentiment. Unforgiveness is serious. The Bible is clear. But I also want to be careful about pronouncing on where any soul stands before God. That's above my pay grade. Above all of ours. What I will say is, let this be a warning to all of us. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Don't let time run out before you make things right with the people you love, because we are not promised tomorrow. Another commenter said Jonathan should just walk away and start fresh. leave Daystar and build something new. And look, there's wisdom in that conversation. Friends, I've been in Christian media long enough to know that when money, power, and grief collide, things get messy. They always do. Because we are human beings who are still being sanctified. Even the most anointed ministries have people inside them who make flawed, sometimes hurtful decisions. But here's what I keep coming back to. God is not confused by any of this. He was not surprised by Joanie's passing. He is not wringing his hands over Daystar's future. He is not panicking about who gets the keys to the building. The church, the real church, the bride of Christ, is not a television network. It is the people. It is the prayer. It is the reconciliation that can still happen even in the most broken of families. I'm going to keep watching this story. I'm going to keep praying for the Lamb family. All of them. Jonathan and Susie, Rachel and Rebecca. The staff at Daystar is just trying to do ministry in the middle of a storm. And I want to say one more time, rest in peace, Joanie Lamb. A life surrendered. What a way to be remembered. If this conversation meant something to you, share it with somebody. Drop a comment below. I genuinely read them. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? We're just getting started. Until next time, stay rooted in the Word, stay covered in prayer, and remember, God is still on the throne, the right throne. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one.